biscuit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 5 of Awaiting Orders. My name is Chandler. I'm here with only Ben yet again. That's all we need, really.
Yeah. All of us, the two of us.
Yep.
Jaden had some family stuff come up, so can't blame him.
Yeah, he's decided that he would rather hang out with his family than us, and, you know, we'll see who his real family is in the long run, right?
What have they ever done?
What have they ever done for him, realistically? All right. News. Is there any news? Nothing's really happening, right?
I mean, just the worries about maybe some delays due to world events. But
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think any major news has come out. They're still just, I imagine, in huge production and shipping mode. I can't.
Yeah, so it would not surprise me if we saw very little of anything new about the game mechanically, basically, until post-actual release, once models are in people's hands. I also think just, you know, kind of in the shipping process, this is a weird time to really make, like, rules changes anyway. You kind of want people purchasing something that's at least somewhat set in stone at the moment, and then they can change things up later. You know, pull the rug out from under them after they bought all of it. That's how we do it.
Yeah, nerf all of the good stuff after they spend their money. It's perfect.
Yeah. It's been working for League of Legends for this long. Why not?
I just had so many thoughts pop into my mind.
All right. Well, today we're going to be doing a bit of a continuation coming off last week, where we're going to talk about the Terran tactics cards that are available to them. We're going to see a little bit of overlap with some of the stuff that we've talked about before. Also, some of them came up somewhat when talking about the units. But yeah, it should be a good time. The Terran have like a low key, really good tactics card layout. So yeah, we'll go through them and talk about them a little bit. So I think we're going to start right off the bat with Raynor's Raiders, not the unit.
Yeah, not the unit,
the tactics card. What does Raynor's Raiders give you?
It gives you a CP to spend, and for eternity, I'm going to call every resource CP, so sorry.
I kind of do the same thing. It's really hard for me to, like... I'm going to flip-flop back and forth on that a lot, so...
But it gives you a great starting layout for your force. 1 hero, 3 core, 1 support, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, Terran are very core. There's so many core units, especially with Raynor's Raiders Marines being also core. You really can power through those core slots really quick.
So 2 abilities. First, the once per game, which is very good. Ready for a pickup. Once per game, the active unit resolves the place 12 effect. Models placed by this effect cannot be set up within the engagement range of an enemy unit, which is an inch. And this resolves instead of performing a standard action.
Yeah.
And then rapid reinforcements to place a friendly defense drone unit on the battlefield more than an inch away from an enemy model, and you have to remove it at the end of the round.
Yep. So we talked about the point defense drone last time. This is just the way that you apply that. So nice defensive kind of little structure available to you. This is sort of, at the moment, Terran's sort of equivalent to, you know, the Omega Worm and the Pylon. This is your little structure that you get. It's a very different one from the other two. Pretty good little guy.
It's another layer on the onion that just says, I don't want to attack this specific area.
Yeah, you get ready for pickup, which is just a 12-inch teleport.
Yeah, you can be engaged, you can be anywhere, and you just get to move 12, which on this board is enormous.
Yeah, it's a huge distance. Even Protoss top out at place 6 currently. So, yeah. And that's just on Stalkers. So, it's an enormous distance. There's at some point during the game, there's going to be a unit that is just suddenly not at all where you expect it to be. It's just a very good effect. Possibly the strongest single movement ability in the game currently.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Obviously a once per game effect, but after that, I mean, you can place you're going to ready for pickup at some point. You've got your point defense drone. The only thing with this one is that because the point defense drone has to be reapplied over and over again if you want to keep using it, that can kind of eat up the cards sometimes.
Yeah.
And when you want to use ready for pickup, you're not going to be able to place your point defense drone. So it definitely has a little bit of like, not really anti-synergy, but like it fights with itself just a little bit. But overall, a very, very good effect.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices you got to make on the tactics cards. Just making sure that you're spending stuff the right way and in the right time.
The next one we've got is Terran Armed Forces. Is the highly generic Terran. It's just Terran Army guys. Its layout is exactly the same. It just swaps out the hero slot for an elite slot.
Which is hilarious because the only elite available is 2 supply, so you can't...
You can't actually bring elite off of this currently, but, you know, it's something.
Yeah.
It's 2 supply, and is there anything... Sorry, I'm about to get lost in the sauce for a second here. Because the factory gives you 2. Is there anything that... Okay, Supply Depot gives you 1. So...
Yeah, you can make it work.
Okay, cool. I was going to laugh if every elite slot thing they had gave you 2, so you just always have an odd number.
Yeah.
But no, it looks like we're okay. Anyway, it's got a couple of abilities. You got Tactical Retreat. This is going to let the active unit ignore the disengage penalty for the remainder of the round. This is an effect Raynor also has, just baked into his card. Which, if you kind of think about it, that means Raynor's Raiders kind of tends to also sort of come with this ability, but it's a little more limited.
Yeah, and then part of me was like, oh, I take this and I can do it twice with Raynor and this card, but if you take Raynor with this unit, it's not too bad.
Yep. And then Terran Tenacity. This is a once per game. You immediately claim, this is in the movement phase, you immediately claim the first player marker, and no other player may claim it for the remainder of the phase. It's just a once per game automatic, I win the initiative going into the assault phase, which isn't bad.
Yeah, especially when you got stuff standing on the circles you want it to stand on, it works out really well that you can just shoot stuff first as well.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff is wanting to try to get the charge off into Terran before they're able to fire, stuff like that. This is going to... Or another example was like a game we played where it was like me pushing initiative to be able to let a stalker unit shoot and then hit hide. This kind of goes, no, you're not going to be able to do that. I am going to get to shoot you before you do anything else. So it's a good effect. You'll kind of know the turn you want it. I think Terran do pretty okay playing the initiative game if they want to. This is your auto, just gives you some control over the pacing and sort of flow of the game. So it's not a bad effect. Yeah. I think getting the most out of it is going to be very skill intensive, though. This is something you have to get a lot of practice with to know when this is going to matter. Yeah, I think on a surface level it feels a bit more like a win more card, but when you dive into it, there's a lot of opportunities to steal some momentum here. Yeah, we're going to get into the actual generic tactics cards. We're going to start off with a bang. Real strong. Yeah, real incredibly simple and very strong is the Academy. This is just, it gives you a CP, but it has any phase once per round reaction to reduce the cost of a special ability by 1 to a minimum of 0, and you don't exhaust the Academy when you do this. So essentially what this boils down to is this is a tactics card that is just 2 instances of 1 CP available to you for the turn. One of them is specifically for a support unit, but let's be honest, that's what you're using it for anyway. Yeah, it's not hard to... given that it's an ability you will always want to use, you're perfectly happy to just use this on it. And it also gives you 2 support slots. Card. Yeah, every list starts with this card. Yeah, you don't go home with that. It's 35 gas, which is like extremely reasonable. It's not up in that 40 to 45 range where stuff's getting really expensive. It's just like, it's very good and it costs a very reasonable amount. It is unique, which it wasn't for a minute, but those were the glory days. You just take like 3 or 4 academies. You're like, I have so many. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is just Terran are not only able to bring a large number of tactics cards usually because they have a lot of very good ones that are kind of cheaper, but they also have the Academy, which is basically just like an extra tactics cards for CP purposes. So very good. Yeah, very strong. I see a lot of talk online about like, man, it's so brutal to have to pay for combat shields or whatever, and I just have to say, like, after after a few games, you're just almost drowning in CP as Terran, to be frank. Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot. You don't have as many abilities on the unit cards. I mean, sometimes the Marauder ability comes up. Sometimes the Goliath one comes up. Yeah. So you just end up using your tactics cards a little differently. Yeah, definitely. The next one down the list is going to be the Armory. What's the Armory giving you? It is 1 elite slot. So thankfully, for the symmetry of it, we can get to 2 elite slots with the Terran Defense Force, but... it's just very straightforward. Super cheap at 30 gas. When a friendly mechanical unit makes an armor roll, give it tough. It's a reaction, which is nice. You don't have to pre-plan it.
but it unlocks a Goliath for you and makes it a little stronger.
And it's right now it is literally only Goliaths.
Yeah,
this is the only mechanical unit available. But
very excited for the expansion of the mech side of things.
Yeah, think about what a siege tank is going to be doing. I suspect giving it critical hit 1 is going to be apocalyptic. Like, I can't imagine that thing doesn't do like 3 damage at least. So,
it will throw around.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Maybe it works differently. But the other thing about the armory, so it's only 30 gas, and it is not unique. I don't know that you really spam this one, but you have the option.
You totally can.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah, it's not one I'd super spam. If I'm going mech, I probably spread out my tactics cards instead of focusing in on one.
Yeah. Now we've got the Terran hyper cheap option in the barracks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unlike this option.
Yeah. The barracks is just it's worth a CP and it gives you a core slot, and then it's got the go action, which is just that you activate it in the movement phase to take a biological unit and have them do a 2-inch move action, which is really good. 2 inches is far in a game like this with the way that the movement works. So it's a good effect. Like having access to the go. I think the thing that makes the barracks not show up all that often is the existence of proxy barracks, but you can take it. And it's very cheap. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I end up seeing a lot of like, if you're going like pure MSU bio, you might be doing like proxy barracks, tech lab, and then like 3 barracks just so that everything can do that move.
Yeah, just make everything really fast. There's a particular kind of skew that could go for it, for sure.
But otherwise, it's just very cheap. It's just the Marines.
Yeah, and then that's kind of juxtaposed against the proxy barracks, which is considerably more expensive at 40. So it is an extra 15 gas to be able to run it, but it's going to give you 2 core slots. It also gives you plus 2 CP.
And also 2 CP. Yeah, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, useful for optical flare, useful for Raynor.
Yeah, big for Raynor.
Yeah, since he likes to spend quite a bit.
It's got go as well, which is really helpful. But the big thing, and I don't leave home without it, is that it has armed and ready, which lets you activate a biological unit, deploy it from any table edge that's not a player's entry edge, and not within 10 inches of an enemy model. And and it has to be, it says this ability cannot be used if another friendly biological unit has already been deployed this round.
That's actually, I need to check something about how this is worded on... Sorry, let me check something real quick. So Warp Gate has kind of the same ability, but it says the controlling player cannot use this if another friendly ground unit. So this doesn't really matter that much, but it's kind of funny that you can technically like deploy a Goliath and then proxy barrack something.
Yeah, it's
I don't know that matters too much, but it's just kind of interesting that it's like less restrictive in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see another deployment by them.
Yeah.
You get to have, as any Conquest players will know, having information in deployment and alternating activations is in fact real good.
Yep.
So,
yeah, proxy barracks is just good. You really want to have access to this effect. We talked a little bit about Warp Gate with Protoss, and it's a very strong effect there, but Terran and Zerg have their versions of it, and I think they just can't not take them. I
think it's another one of my must-takes. This and Academy right now are pretty essential.
Right. I've played without like 6 pool before, and it felt bad. And that one's limited to Zergling. That one's very specific.
It's just so hard to keep up with other factions and get onto the zones that you need to get onto.
The next one on our list is a Tech Lab Barracks, which is your most expensive one. Yeah. This one also gives you 2 CP. Why do you have so many 2 CPs? Good lord. Terran, chill out, man.
I'm guessing the Raven and Science Vessel are going to just be insane CP hogs.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. A lot of those spellcaster type units probably will be.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Give me a ghost now, you cowards.
Yep. The Tech Lab gives you an elite slot and a core slot. That elite slot's probably for a ghost.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah. It also has go. So you're not about to bring that seems to be the barracks template ability, and then anything else thrown on top of that is just going to give you an extra ability, which in this case is Let's Have a Blast, which is to take a biological unit's first range weapon and give it anti-evade 1, which is pretty good.
It's actually really good because it lets you spread out the effect from your slug throwers to 12 and even 16 inches.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
When it's relevant, that's very good. The slug throwers kind of handle the worst case scenario, like the typical scenario that you're needing anti-evade, which is when you're getting engaged. But this gives you that option as well. And I think this will become more relevant as more evade-centric units show up, more hidden, things like that.
Yeah, more hidden, more burrow. This is sadly a card that gets cut a lot for me because it's 45 gas.
It's really expensive. Yeah. Right now, I think it's slightly too niche, especially with slug throwers. If slug throwers didn't exist, I'd see this being more of like a concern where you're like, I really need to be able to chew through, 18 Zergling or 36 Zergling or whatever that are all engaging me and have like a 4-up evade. But given that you already have an anti-evade option and they don't stack up, since it's a buff keyword, it's only got so much, help for you.
Now, at 45 gas, I would honestly, like if it was anti-evade +1, like it stacked somehow.
That'd be pretty wild. Yeah.
That'd be probably too good, but a boy can dream. Oh, the dropship. It's so good. Yep. 40 gas, but it pays for itself. It's 1 CP, 1 core, 1 support.
Yep.
And then it's got movement phase abilities. First one, strap in. The active unengaged ground unit is placed in reserves instead of performing an action. Big fan. Because it doesn't have the rider that it's the active unit, so you can't deploy it again. But when this matters, it's very helpful.
Yeah, just being able to sort of reposition a unit into a new area. They do have to be unengaged, so once your stuff kind of gets swarmed, it's a little hard to do anything about. To me, this is very much my unit is very out of position kind of a thing. Or there's
can't get past these sentry force fields.
Exactly. You've boxed me in or whatever. Or like in a slightly more niche situation, like there's a unit I want to deploy, but I don't have enough supply available. You can just pull a unit and deploy something else.
Super helpful. Super good to have in your pocket. And then it has ready for dust off. Just place a faction indicator anywhere on the battlefield more than 10 inches away from an enemy model. At the end of the round, the controller player may deploy 1 ground unit from reserves in base-to-base contact. Super important. A very key ability to have in your list for the game of StarCraft.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah, everybody has access to it. We talked a little bit about how maybe Protoss don't want this as much as the others, but I think for Terran and Zerg, it's like absolutely essential. Terran, I think, also do have some advantages in that they've got things like Raynor's Raiders right now. You have Terran's ability to just deploy like at random places on the map is kind of wild. But it's just a very good effect, and we've talked about it at length elsewhere. But this being placed at the end of the turn is very good. A lot of just good effects that come with the timing of it. And
it just really captures the good feel of like, they do such a good job with the feel of like playing bio and doing multiple pronged medevac drops and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just awesome.
Like medevac is going to show up eventually and it's going to be like 55 gas and it'll just be like a drop ship with a heal ability. It's just going to be like truly unreasonable. The next one on our list is Engineering Bay. Engineering Bay's 30 gas, pretty low. Gives you a core slot and a CP. And then this one's got infantry armor, so you pick a biological unit. When they're making an armor roll, you give them tough 1. It's very good. Throw that Marauders. It just really makes them really, really difficult to chew through.
Oh, it's so brutal.
Yeah. And then kind of the opposite end of this is infantry weapons. You just you give biological units first range weapon, critical hit 1.
Terran is all about, and very similar to the game right now, Terran is all about stacking little drops of upgrades and buffs onto a unit, right? Defensive and offensive. And so this just plays really well into it. It's not unique. It's only 30 gas. It plays all your Marines and your Marauders want both sides of it. I like this card a lot.
It's just pretty good. Terran have a lot of very good non-unique tactics cards available to them.
Yeah, we only have, I guess we have 6 out of 10 are unique, but we have a lot of spammable options compared to Protoss.
Protoss literally have 2 non-unique, and one of them is regular gateway, which you'll almost never take. So it's pretty rough. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, 2 engineering bays is like a very perfectly reasonable thing to do, especially if you're going kind of Marauder heavy. That tough just stacked on everything else about them is really good. And then if you're firing into an armored unit, giving them critical hit 1, they already hit incredibly hard. It's just going to crank them up that much further. So
yeah, Marauders with veterans where they're 3-up saves, because you get to see the roll first. Like, it's turning a fail to a success. So between this, point defense drone, a medic, it's blocking. I mean, a 2-man Hydra doesn't even get to really attack. Like, it's not worth rolling the dice.
Yeah. Just really shave off a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Our next one down is the Factory. The Factory is 35 gas, mech. Also non-unique. Yeah, all this mech support for your 1 mech unit. It gives you 2 elite slots, so it brings you a Goliath just straight up on its own. And it just has an active ability to heal a mechanical unit too. I mean, Goliaths, having lost 2 health, they had 12 at one point. They're a little more like... Yeah,
they need it.
They're a little more likely to die for sure, but they're reasonably tough. It's not hard for a Goliath to live on like a wound or 2. Being able to bump up a little bit of a heal isn't too bad. I think really the main thing is this is just your elite slot. If you want a lot of elite slots, you kind of end up having to take some number of factories. Just by nature of it gives you 2. And the only mechanical unit, the only elite unit available to Terran costs 2. So,
and I imagine a lot of elite slots are going to fall into that 2+ range. Like, what siege tank is going to be 1 supply? Like a ghost, a siege tank. Like, we're gonna probably hurt pretty bad for elite slots. I would imagine will be a balancing factor for us. I say us as the resident Terran enjoyer.
So the one, yeah. All right, then we've got a unique 25 gas card in Orbital Command.
This needs to cost more gas. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
It is so impactful. Okay, let me go through it. 1 CP, 1 core slot. It's got 2 movement phase abilities. Comsat station, select a table edge that's not a player's entry edge. Until the end of the round, enemy units cannot deploy from that edge. I lost multiple games to Warp... Is it Warp Gate? Yeah, Warp Gate.
Warp Gate's the one for Protoss, yeah.
Warp Gate Zealots, just moving leg enhancements and charging my medics. And I just, space that I had this Comsat station ability.
Yeah, you can kind of go, my backline is safe, right? And
it's in this game in particular, it just says it's so much easier to screen out and prevent these goofy deployment and sneaky deployment options.
Yeah, I mean,
and the real good.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the thing with Combat Station is I feel like it's gonna take us a lot of games to get a good feel for when you need to use it for sure. Because the thing is a lot of the time, you'll put it on a table edge or whatever, and it's the opponent's just like, okay, I'll just deploy something else, in whatever location I kind of wanted to for that thing anyway. But there's going to be times where you're like, well, the only real out they've got right now is deploying behind me, and you can just go, you don't get to do that. So
yeah, it's just there's a lot of skill expression in, which is really cool because this is building your army style, and there's a lot of skill expression in how these cards play.
Yeah,
so that's really fun. And then the reason I think this should cost a little more, Scanner Sweep, a classic of the game. Place a faction indicator anywhere on the battlefield, which is a little token, I believe, about 1 inch wide.
Yeah.
And while enemy units are within 6 inches of the faction indicator, they lose hidden. That's a pretty key wording. Losing hidden, and that's almost 13 inches of a circle. And it's
roughly. It's a big area, and hidden. The thing about hidden, obviously hidden right now is kind of barely a rule. There's not a lot of places that this is super available. At the moment, the only place that really weaponizes hidden is probably Stalkers. Zerg have a little bit of stuff they can do with burrow right now, but I think it's design-wise kind of a mess at the moment. I don't really like burrowing with Zerg, but Protoss at least do kind of have that one sort of hidden trick that's available to them, and that's kind of it at the moment. But hidden is such an enormously powerful keyword against Terran. Obviously, like for melee armies, like hidden makes you ignore impact hits, which is impactful, like it is a thing, but you still get your melee attacks, you know what I mean? Like you, at the end of the day, you do still get to do your damage for the most part. Whereas in the case of shooting, I mean, if I'm outside 4 inches of you and your entire army is shooting centric, like you can't do anything. You can't do anything at all. So the hidden effect is very powerful into Terran. It might be one of those things where, and I kind of wonder about this with, is that this is a cheap ability elsewhere. Like it's 25 gas for Zerg as well for something that does the same sort of thing. Protoss have the Observer, which is also 25, and I think it's actually better than this card in a lot of respects because it gives you the +1 to charge after you roll ability.
Oh yeah.
So everybody kind of has access to this. I think the thing about this one is a combination of Terran's already very good, very cheap cards kind of compounding to where they just have a lot of tactics cards, and this is a perfectly good one for pretty cheap. But also just the effect of removing hidden is so powerful for Terran specifically. That said, making too much of a call on like whether this is too good or not, I think is one of those things where it's just like we have to see where the game goes over a couple of years, because the units that interact with this just don't exist currently for the most part. Once Dark Templar are running around, we can talk. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once Lurkers and Ghosts and Dark Templar are running around, we'll talk about how nasty Hidden is as a rule. Because right now, I mean, technically speaking, Zerg have the most access to Hidden. It's just that I think it's like incredibly hard to access for them. So right now,
it's all tied into Burrow, right?
It's all tied into Burrow, which is just they've made like comically expensive to do. So you just don't really do it.
Yeah.
So I think Zerg, we'll talk about this when we get to Zerg, but I think Zerg need more ways to be burrowed for free, but alas. So this is a very good effect, and this is something you want to bring anyway, just because it is so cheap. Terran really like to eat through a lot of CP. I mean, everybody does really, but Terran have the ability to do it in a way nobody else does. And whereas like in Zerg, I think this is my only 25. Yeah, no, I have like 3. So the Overseer is my version of this, and I never want to take it.
Yeah.
It does not fit into the army very well for me. Whereas this one, I feel like it just slots in very well with the currently existing stuff. So, and that's another thing, is that as new tactics, that's all of these, like as new units release, because from what I understand, pretty much every unit is like coming with a tactics card, as far as we know.
Very cool.
I don't know if that's exactly true, but it sounds like it's something like that.
I imagine at least every hero and a bunch of units. Yeah, I could see it as well.
Yeah, that was kind of my understanding, was like units are typically going to come with like a tactics card sort of packed in with them. So as we get new units, and the competition for tactics cards goes up. Because like part of the thing about like Protoss is it's not that they don't have cheap options, it's that their stuff that they like desperately want to take is the expensive stuff, whereas Terran have a lot of really cheap stuff that they're happy to take. So
that's the thing. I had 3 must takes that's only about 115 points, and then I've got 85 points that I can just spam barracks and
yeah, these like 30 and 25 point cards. Zerg are a little more middle ground on this, but right now, but as as new tactics cards come out and you get competition where it's like, oh, this one's 45 gas, but I have to have it, you're gonna get to where that number of tactics cards may go down slightly. Or I don't know, maybe they'll just make 15-point tactics cards for Terran and we'll all explode.
Buff Terran.
Yeah, buff Terran is what we're saying. They need it real bad, clearly. Our last little friend is going to be the supply depot. The supply depot being like an incredibly expensive, unique gas card is incredibly funny to me. Yeah, this is just, you're like, this is like the little idiot I just pay 100 minerals for when my adjutant yells at me. Why is this so expensive? Yeah, it's a unique card. It gives you a CP, it gives you a hero slot, an elite slot, and a core slot. And then it gives you an active ability in the movement phase. The active unit supply value is improved by 1 for controlling and contesting mission markers and completing objectives. Yet another way Terran are able to manipulate their supply value for the purposes of scoring. This is one of those effects where you could absolutely play a game and never use this at all. And then another day you'll play a game where it scores you half your points and you just win. Yeah. You know? So
it's like, oops, I won the game because my one Marine ran onto your objective that was sticky and I was able to steal it from you. Like, it's just, I don't know.
That said, at the moment, a little bit like Power Field in Protoss, I think you're paying for that hero slot and you're not using it right now.
Yeah.
So as heroes release, this will be a little bit more interesting. What are the heroes we had for Terran coming out again? I believe
Pinks, right?
Oh yeah, I think it was like Nova and Mansk.
Yeah, no. I could absolutely see splashing Nova into a lot of things. Like, let's be honest.
Just the nature of how she probably plays. I'm curious about Mansk. So a slight tangent here, but I'm curious about how Mansk is going to work because he feels to me more like somebody that would almost need to come with like his own set of releases on some level. But he has to have the nuke, right? Like, he has to have the nuclear missile tactics card. And I want to know how it's going to work so bad, you know? But does he have the nuke or do ghosts have the nuke, you know?
And it's going to be the Ghost Academy card that comes with the Ghost Box.
So maybe, I don't know. I'm so interested.
He's got to have the psi emitter, right?
Yeah, I could see that. I'll be honest, this is me getting ahead of myself a little. So my Terran, I really want to paint them UED. And part of the reason I want to paint them UED is I know eventually they're going to come out with a UE. It's the yellow, black, and white. Yeah, it's going to be miserable. But part of the reason that I'm interested in the idea of, now this isn't to say I don't really care what color my stuff is for sub-faction purposes, but eventually we've got to get a UED card that lets you play Zerg with Terran, right? Like that was their whole thing, was they showed up and like took control of a bunch of Zerg broods. Most of Brood War is
that's so true.
Yeah, like how cool would that be? I'd be so excited for that.
I didn't even think about that, but that's so true.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm curious how they'll do. I don't know how much they'll do stuff like that, but I'd love to see like I'm curious if there's wording on faction cards or something they could add that like allows for different. Well, you could keyword stuff, right? But then I don't know. But that's on the
keywords
units
built into the units.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's already on the units.
It'd be as simple as like, I don't know, taking Kerrigan's, for using the example we have, right?
Yeah.
You can include 4 supply of non-Kerrigan's Brood Zerg units, stuff like that.
Something like that, yeah. You probably wouldn't be able to say Kerrigan's Brood because there's going to be other keywords that appear over time, but it's something. There's got to be something like that. That would be interesting. I wonder. Yeah, it'd be cool to see, though. I'd love to see.
I don't build supply depots. I just spend my orbital command energy because I forgot to build them and I have to call down supply depots.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I just play entirely commanders that don't interact with supply. It's like all my favorite ones, man. It's like Zeratul and just got in like Nova, where you're just like, I just have 100 supply. I don't have to build anything. Yeah. I build 3 buildings and I build out of those all game. I'm just vibing.
Co-op turned into like every release was like, how can we just erase the supply mechanic?
Yeah, literally the later you get in, the more and more they just don't interact with supply anymore as a mechanic. It's pretty funny. Technically the first one he did was Artanis, which is one of the OGs, but for him it was like his capstone ability was he starts with like max supply, and there's just a bunch of commanders who just do that now. They're just like, we just Nova's not building supply depots, like, Zeratul doesn't even have to build pylons. He doesn't even have to build in power fields. He literally just puts his buildings wherever. So, yeah, whatever. Like, it's fine. Meanwhile, freaking Zerg, I'm just like, more overlords. Oh, God.
Rallying to the back corner of the map. All right.
Dude, the worst is anytime you fight against anytime the enemy composition has like Scourge in it, and it's like your overlords are just horrified. I've had like late game where I've gone to like 12 supply worth of overloads, and I'm just like, this is so bad. Anyway. Hey, we kept the length reasonable today, everybody. We did it.
Look at us go.
Well done. That's the Terran Tactics cards. Hopefully we'll get Jaden on again someday when he decides he wants to hang out with us. Yeah. But next time we're going to be talking... Yeah. Do you remember Jaden? Next time we're going to talk about Zerg units, and we'll see if we want to do that in one episode or two, because... they have so many, but we'll play that by ear a little bit. But as far as that goes,
just 80% more, just 12 instead of 7.
It's like a lot. It's so many. It's like they're variants, but some of them are like pretty different. Like a Raptor Zergling and a normal Zergling are like not the same unit. They're very different.
Well, let alone all the minor details that really change how they function, like the melee versus range approaches that I can't remember.
Zerg Tactics cards are going to take forever too, because they have creep cards. They have more than everybody else on those too. Freaking Zerg. Calm down, Zerg.
They're so pushed. They have so many things.
Nerf Zerg. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. We'll see you next time to talk about some Zerg.
Bye.